in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall be issued but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the places to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Whether you're in automotive, sporting goods, hardware, health, wellness, electrical, electronics, construction, carpet cleaning, legal, or animal care, and offer exceptional customer service and provide quality services or goods, you're honest, reliable, and professional. If you have a business, we have the customers. Let us put you in touch with our loyal, supportive, and dedicated listeners today. They're waiting to hear from you. It's inexpensive. It's effective. Call KHNC at 1-800-205-6245. With the summer months upon us, let's all keep an extra special eye out for our senior citizens. Check on them on a regular basis, especially when the weather is hot. Make sure they have what they need. Someday we'll all be in that position. Wouldn't you like to have someone watch out for you? That's from Brush Housing Authority, reminding listeners, for housing programs, call 970-845-5046. That's 970-845-5046. That's Brush Housing Authority on the air, wishing everyone a great summer season.
Florida lifeguard is fired for saving a drowning man. Thousands of Pakistanis kill a man and burn his corpse after accusing him of desecrating the Quran. An astounding 13,000 pages of brand new regulations are already on their way to Americans thanks to Obamacare. We'll get a treatise on Jewish intelligence from the scholars at the Nation of Islam. 20 facts about Walmart that will absolutely shock you. 70 reasons to mourn for America. And Barack Obama, his mother, and the CIA. My name is Howard Riell, and this is Real Truth. You're listening to the American Freedom Network, streaming live around the world at AmericanNewsNet.com, and on Facebook, and on YouTube, and on Real TV, and in the book Real Truth, Stay Angry. And, of course, as always, broadcasting out across the Colorado Front Range on KHNC, Johnstown, Colorado, 1360 AM The Lion. The call-in number, 877-254-7524. My friends, I hope you emerge from the 4th of July safe and whole and unburned. Item from the BBC Dateline Islamabad. A Pakistani police official says thousands of people beat a man to death, then burned his corpse after he was accused of desecrating Islam's holy book. Local officer Mohammed Azhar Gujar said Wednesday the man was killed after attackers stormed a police station where he had been detained for allegedly throwing pages from the Quran into the street. Gujar said police officers tried to protect the man during Tuesday's attack, but the mob turned violent. They burned several police vehicles and wounded 7 officers before grabbing the man, who has not been identified. Under Pakistani blasphemy laws, anyone guilty of insulting Islam's prophet Muhammad or the Quran can be sentenced to death. But these laws are often misused to settle personal scores and enmities, unquote. Misused? What are they talking about? My friends, the Muslims in Pakistan, they're no different than you. If you've ever heard someone say something unflattering about your religion, be honest. Haven't you killed them and burned their bodies? People make a big thing out of it. Item from Fox News. With the Supreme Court giving President Obama's new health care law a green light, federal and state officials are turning to implementation of the law. A lengthy and massive undertaking, still in its early stages, but already costing money and expanding the government. The Health and Human Services Department was given $1 billion implementation money, said Republican Representative Denny Rayburg of Montana. That money is already gone on additional bureaucrats and IT programs, computerization for the implementation. Oh boy, said Stan Dorn of the Urban Institute. HHS has a huge amount of work to do, and the states do too. There will be new health insurance marketplaces in every state in the country, places you can go online, compare health plans. The IRS, Health and Human Services, and many other agencies will now write thousands of pages of regulations, an effort well underway. Said Rayburg, there's already 13,000 pages of regulations, and they're not even done yet. Unquote. Well then. Billions spent, thousands and thousands of pages of new regulations. My friends, if I were Satan, and by the way, I'm not, if I wanted to destroy the human race, how would I go about it? Well, I ain't got a nuke. I guess I would pump up taxes, cut people's individual liberty, surveil them at every opportunity, pump out thousands and thousands of new pages of regulations, and control every aspect of their lives so that if I flipped a switch, their lives would effectively be over. Of course, that's what the devil would do. That's what our government is doing. Item from Haaretz in Israel. The time has come for the disappearance of Israel and the West from the face of the universe. A senior Iranian official was quoted as saying on Thursday, adding that they were, quote, the prime sources of tyranny and gloom. The comment by Speaker of the Iranian Parliament, Ali Larijani, came after earlier Tuesday the head of Iran's nuclear agency said that newly approved EU sanctions against the country's oil industry would not halt the progress of Iran's nuclear program. Earlier this week, Iran test-fired several long-range ballistic missiles as part of an extensive military drill, with a top officer in Iran's Revolutionary Guards saying that the launch was meant to show to regional and trans-regional countries seeking adventurism that the Islamic Republic is determined to resist their bullying and will give a crushing and decisive response to any potential act of mischief, unquote. Okay, so let's destroy Iran. No, I meant a minute ago. We're still not destroying Iran. I've been saying for months we should do it. We probably should have been doing it years ago. So tell me, what exactly and precisely is it the West is waiting for? Do we need to see a mushroom cloud, God forbid, rising over Tel Aviv, or Denver, or New York, or California, or Paris, or London? Why do we only act when there's a disaster? Why don't we be a little bit smart? Iran is rattling the nuclear saber? Good. Iran goes. Item from Israel National News. Knesset member Michael Ben-Ari was removed from Knesset Wednesday for disturbing Knesset member Yochanan Plesner as the latter revealed the findings of a committee on equal distribution of the burden of military service. Ben-Ari demanded to know if the committee was simply an attempt to save the Kadima party and why it did not examine the topic of Arab service. The committee focused on attempts to require Haredi men, those are ultra-Orthodox Jewish men, to serve, and did not propose a change to the blanket exemption to national service enjoyed by the Arab community. Stop. My friends, you've heard the expression caught between a rock and a hard place, and Israel is. On the one hand, they're here to tell you every Israeli citizen is equal. Good. So we'll have the Arabs in the army. But wait 1 second. If the Arabs get in the army, they become deadly enemies that we ourselves are standing next to and have fitted with weapons. But then Israel is acknowledging that the Arabs want to destroy us, which they can't because they're Israelis and all Israelis are equal and we love everybody. Right? Have you ever seen a country commit suicide, my friends? Look at Israel. They're doing everything in their power to fall forward on their sword. It is only, and I mean this literally, only by the grace of God that it hasn't happened yet. We'll be right back.
Just a good old boy.
Hi, I'm Eric Cedarstrom. For over a decade, I've been the CEO, shipping clerk, and janitor of the Patriot Trading Group. And in that time, I've made friends with tens of thousands of like-minded individuals all over this country, most like me, trying to raise a family, run a business, and make sense out of a world gone mad. I'm proud of the fact that through stock bubbles, housing bubbles, and financial chaos, our customers are prospering and doing very well. By keeping our prices fair and our service fast, we find that 80% of our customers not only reorder, but they tell their friends. Don't be fooled by hype and high pressure. Do business with a company you can trust. Call the Patriot Trading Group at 1-800-951-0592 or check out our website at allamericangold.com. You'll be treated with honesty and respect. You have my word on it. I'm Eric Cedarstrom, CEO of Shipping Clerk and Janitor.
Making their way the only way they know how.
Looking for the perfect answer to your nutrition and health needs? Look no further. BioSuperfood, developed to heal the peoples, animals, and land after the Chernobyl disaster, has the most complete, powerful nutritional analysis for health and wellness. Easy to digest, BioSuperfood contains complete proteins, amino acids, and vitamins A, B complex, B12, C, E, D, and K. It contains minerals and trace elements like calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, potassium, iodine, manganese, zinc, selenium, silicon, and it provides essential fatty acids, omega-3, 6, and 9. It's high in gamma-linoleic acid and has thousands of active enzymes and phytonutrients like chlorophyll, spirulina, and carotenes. Beta-carotene, alpha-carotene, astaxanthin, lutein, lycopene, quercetin, and much more. Save your money, save your time. Compare, and you'll find that there is no more researched or superior product available on the market today. Call now and get your discount prices on your next BioSuperfood at 303-257-7576, 303-257-7576, or BioSuperfood@hotmail.com.
My friends, welcome back to Real Truth. The Source with Ezra Levant aired last November, December, okay? But it's worth listening to right now. We were just talking about Iran and its desire to burn up the entire infidel world. Let's listen to Ezra and his guest and my former guest, Robert Spencer, talking about Iran.
Today, the Department of Justice is announcing charges against two people who allegedly attempted to carry out a deadly plot that was directed by factions of the Iranian government to assassinate a foreign ambassador here in the United States. That was yesterday. Eric Holder, the U.S. Attorney General. Look, Iran is a rogue state. It's a terrorist-sponsoring state. I'm not sure what the big surprise is. The surprise to me is that we're not actually doing anything about this. Joining me now is Robert Spencer, the director of Jihad Watch. Robert, how many times are we going to pretend that we're not at war and that we're going to have a few charges made against a few pawns on the chessboard and we'll maybe issue some more diplomatic statements? At what point, Robert, do we say we're at war with Iran and they're building a nuclear bomb, and if we don't go in there and surgically remove it through military action, they're going to whack us with a ballistic missile?
Stop for a second, my friend. Stop. Why always an assumption that we need a surgical strike? It's a good question, huh? Surgical strike meaning we take out the facility but not the people. Here's the problem. It's the people who built the facility, the people who want to use the facility, the people who will build another facility. Surgical strike? My ass. Let's take out half the country and give them 5 minutes to repent before we take out the other half. Let's continue.
Atomic device.
Well, Ezra, I couldn't agree more. That's on the horizon, but as long as Barack Obama remains president, we're not going to take any significant action against Iran. I'm glad that they stopped this plot. I'm glad that they uncovered it. I'm glad that they moved against it. But the fact remains that probably this plot would never have been hatched in the first place if Obama had not been so warmly positive toward the Islamic Republic of Iran and hadn't made so many overtures to them that Mahmoud Ahmadinejad has been caught on tape laughing about how weak he is and how malleable he is and how he is going to hop to whatever the Iranian agenda is. And so we can't blame them for figuring they could get away with this and pretty much anything else they wanted to.
All right, well, listen, you're being tough on Obama, and I agree with every single word you said, but the problem of Iran and nukes predates Obama. Going back to at least 2006, we knew what they were up to. George Bush was in power for at least 2 or 3 years when Iran was on the radar screen, and he did nothing either. And I don't know if any of the Republican candidates for president would go so far as to say they would proactively attack Iran. Is it just a partisan issue? I mean, Bush had his chance. He didn't do anything either, did he?
No, you're quite right, Ezra. And at Jihad Watch at the time, I hit Bush just as hard. This is a cluelessness that is truly bipartisan. Bush had many opportunities when the situation in Iran was not nearly as far as advanced as it is now. I don't think they would have tried this or could have tried this in 2005 or 2006.
Now, why not? Why do you think they wouldn't?
Of course.
Why don't you think Iran would have or could have tried to assassinate the Saudi ambassador? I mean, seriously, what would have stopped them back then?
Well, in those days, there was a whole lot more of assertiveness about American resistance. In those days, for all his faults and for all the misguidedness of the democracy projects in Iraq and Afghanistan, it was at least clear that Bush was not going to stand for jihad, for an expansion of jihad activity, and was taking a posture toward Iran that was very different from Obama's. But at the same time, the fundamental weakness was that he did not move against the nuclear project when he could have and should have, and so the thing just started to grow. Iranian assertiveness started to grow, as well as their nuclear program has developed, and now we have this monster that could have been stopped at a much earlier stage.
Well, let me ask you a question. I think I get it, but I mean, Saudi Arabia is not a democracy. I mean, they're nominally a Western ally, but I think that's stretching the use of the word ally. Explain for our viewers a little bit about why Iran would try and take a whack at Saudi Arabia, a fellow Muslim dictatorship.
Well, this is a Sunni-Shiite problem. The Sunnis and the Shiites hate each other. They always have since the year 680, and they probably always will. And the Shiites are a small minority in terms of the global Islamic population, about 15% of Muslims worldwide. But the Shiism is the official religion of the Islamic Republic of Iran, and Iran is being much more audacious, really, than Shiites have been for centuries in trying to gain control of the entire Islamic world, or leadership position, rather, in the entire Islamic world. They're funding Sunni jihadis, Hamas in Israel, and the Taliban in Afghanistan, and they're clearly trying to take a leadership role that brings them right into direct competition with the Saudis as being the guardians of the two holy places in Islam, Mecca and Medina, and the kingdom of the two holy places, as it's called. They consider themselves to be the foremost exponents of Sunni Islam, and so they consider the Iranians their chief rivals. And the Iranians, for the first time, are trying to be players on the stage of the Islamic world as a whole.
Now, the West already has strict sanctions against Iran. We don't import their oil. We don't do other trade with them. But, it doesn't really matter as long as China, India, even parts of Europe continue to buy Iranian oil. I mean, really, it's the oil, as long as China, India, Japan, places like that are thirsty for oil, our Western sanctions mean nothing. If we continue on the course we are, that is, putting out meaningless press releases, walking out in a very showy manner of Ahmadinejad's speech at the UN, if we just continue on this path of diplomatic chitter-chatter, where do you think the breaking point will come? When do you estimate Iran will do something truly audacious, like an attack in a different country or even a nuclear attack?
Well, I think a nuclear attack is on the horizon. I mean, they're developing a nuclear program. Ahmadinejad has stated many times that the Zionist regime has to be taken off the map, and I don't think that he would hesitate. Remember also that Twelver Shiism, the official religion of Iran, it has this strange apocalyptic notion that the savior figure, the Mahdi, is going to come back at a time when the Muslims are undergoing terrible persecution, and that there have even been Iranian ayatollahs who've said that they can provoke that coming back of the Mahdi by provoking the persecution and by sustaining a few million casualties in a nuclear strike as a retaliation for their own nuclear strike. So this is not a group that is susceptible to the idea of mutually assured destruction that kept the Soviets in check. These are really mad mullahs in the truest sense of the term.
Last question. About 30 years ago, Israel saw a nuclear reactor being built in Saddam Hussein's Iraq. They sent in F-16s and F-15s to bomb it. And I'm glad they did. Do you think Israel will move, if even America doesn't, to take out those nuclear reactors in Iran? Or do you think they're no longer even capable of doing that?
I think they're capable of doing it. I certainly hope they do it. There have been rumblings in the very high places in the United States about actually stopping them from Iraq. Anti-Israel people in Barack Obama's administration, like Samantha Power, has actually said that the United States should do that. Zbigniew Brzezinski, Carter's aide, who's also advised Obama, has also said that the U.S. should do that. And I hope that that doesn't give the Israelis pause. It may be that they're our final hope in this.
Robert Spencer, Director of Jihad Watch, thanks so much for helping shed the light on these.
Israel is always mankind's final hope in questions like this. As for the Americans who want to stop Israel from defending itself, well, you know that those are not the good guys. They are in league with the bad guys. Item from KJCT8.com, Dateline, Grand Junction, Colorado. Passengers say their problem is not with the rules at the airport. They understand why drinks are not allowed through security. But when they buy one while they wait for their flight, they say the TSA shouldn't ask to test it. Passengers say traveling is big enough stress, but now some are worried the drinks they're getting are not safe. The TSA wouldn't say what they're testing for or why they're doing it, but travelers say they have a right to know. I'm always glad that my safety is a priority. I just think testing drinks after they've already been bought might be a little extreme, said infrequent flyer Jennifer Smart. Stop! Jennifer, you're not that smart. Do you really think the priority is your safety, Ms. Smart? It is not. The government, TSA, couldn't care less if you died in a terrorist blast. The reason TSA is down our throats and up our butts at the airport is control. Control. And conditioning Americans to even more control. There's no threat that they're preventing. If there were a real threat, we could solve it by having separate airlines for Muslims. There is no threat. There is control. It's what government does. It's all that government does, especially now. We'll continue. The water or the juices or anything you buy here in the airport, TSA is going to come over and look and check and test it? That's just ridiculous, said world traveler Thomas Burgard. We asked the TSA about the drink testing, and they said, quote, TSA employees have many layers of security throughout airports. Passengers may be randomly selected for additional screening measures at the checkpoint or in the gate at any time, unquote. My friends, that's called a violation of the U.S. Constitution. Unlawful search and seizure. Now, I understand why in the 1930s the Germans didn't care about the Constitution. And I understand why for 70, 80 years the Soviet Union didn't care about the Constitution. This is freaking America. We had better care about the Constitution, because when it goes, we go. And it's going. It's going. TSA now feels it can do anything to anyone at any time, and that is definitely not America. Item from the Associated Press, Dateline, London. British police used smoke grenades and a stun gun in an early morning swoop Thursday on a home close to London's Olympic Park, as 6 terror suspects were rounded up in a series of raids across the city. Officers said the 5 men and 1 woman were detained following an operation to monitor their activities and insisted their alleged plans to stage attacks had no link to London's upcoming Summer Games, which begin on July 27. Police did not identify the suspects, who range in age from 18 to 30. However, Mizanur Rahman, who's involved with a Muslim activist group, said all those arrested were British Muslims, unquote. Surprise, 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 and once more, just for effect, surprise. Not Pakistani Muslims in Britain, not Iranians in Britain, not Saudi Arabians in Britain, but British Muslims, homegrown Muslims, Britain's very own Muslims, planning death destruction. So now you will explain to me, please, why it can happen in Britain, but not here? Do you really think there's no one in your city of the Muslim faith who's planning some kind of terrorist attack? Do you really think that? Oh, well, I guess ignorance is bliss. Item from Agence France Presse. An Australian forklift driver, who some historians argued was the true heir to the British throne, has died in the small New South Wales town he called home, his local newspaper reported Thursday. Mike Hastings, 71, was a real-life aristocrat, born the 14th Earl of Loudon, who moved to Australia in 1960 in search of adventure. He made international headlines in 2004 when a documentary team from Britain's Channel 4 conducted extensive research into the monarchy and concluded his ancestors were cheated out of the crown in the 15th century, unquote. My friends, can you imagine living life knowing that you should be a king and yet not being one? I can't. Item from Agence France Presse. An expedition to test the theory that aviatrix Amelia Earhart survived the crash of her airplane 75 years ago and died a castaway on a desert island left Hawaii on Tuesday. The University of Hawaii research ship left the snug harbor here without fanfare under somber, drizzling skies at the start of a 26-day trip, including 8 days at sea each way to Kiribati in the Central Pacific. Richard Gillespie, the leader of the International Group for Historic Aircraft Recovery Mission, said they would use technology not previously available to try and learn the fate of the pioneering aviator. We're demonstrating the newest methods to sift fact from myth, skills everyone can use these days when we're bombarded by information not knowing what's true, he told AFP. Will they find the last signs of Amelia Earhart? Stay tuned.
Have you been dreaming of new kitchen cabinets? Maybe you want to reface or repair your current ones but think it's too expensive. Are you on a budget but know you need to maximize and organize the storage space in your home, basement, or workplace? What about you gun enthusiasts who would like a customized display cabinet, or those emergency preppers who want a hidden storage unit designed for that unique space? Whether you want quality custom design cabinets, specialty woodwork, or budget repairs, Custom Cabinet Shop can help you with whatever you need. High-end or low-end, remodel, reface, or replace. This family-owned and operated business since 1980 will help you design just about any project. Call 303-340-1390. That's 303-340-1390. Find us on Facebook for your free quote and single on-site visit. Service area is limited.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tom Phillips, founder of the Green Herb.
All of God's people have a ministry, and it's a trick of our enemy to keep God's people sick and worn out to hinder their ability to minister. We are often judgmental toward people who are addicted to booze, cigarettes, and drugs, but we at the Green Herb have found that most of God's people are unknowingly addicted to the two most addictive products in America, sugar and soda pop. If you have a sickness or disease, or if you're just tired a lot, the Green Herb has an herbal product that is formulated just for you, and it's just $15.95. Come by the Green Herb, located in Wheat Ridge, Colorado, on the I-70 Frontage Road North, 1 mile west of Kipling, or call 888-765-HERB. That's 888-765-4372, or go to our website, www.thegreenherb.com, and be sure to listen to the Green Herb Show with Linda and Dr. Cass every Tuesday at 1 o'clock on KHNC.
He was in the world, and the world was made through him, and the world did not know him. He came to his own, and his own did not receive him. But as many as received him, to them he gave the right to become children of God, to those who believe in his name, who were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 10 through 13. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
are back with more Real Truth. My name's Howard Riell. From about 5 months ago on Fox News, Glenn Beck talking New World Order with Ron Paul. Listen.
You're the one guy who has had this right from the very beginning. But the problem is, if you say stuff like this, it sounds like a conspiracy theory. And I can't get, I mean, there's nobody in the media that is reporting this. There's nobody that's talking about this stuff, but it only makes common sense. If people know that the end is coming of the system that we have, and I'm not saying that, I'm not saying that we're all going to, cats and dogs are going to be sleeping with each other, et cetera, et cetera. What I'm saying is there's going to be a change coming. Rupert Murdoch said that nations will be redefined in this period. You know that people at the global level are looking at it and saying, okay, what's it going to look like? Where can we find out, where do we start to look?
Well, you should look to the Congress, but they don't pay much attention either. And there will be a realignment, and there's a struggle going on with us who believe that we should have national sovereignty. We should be out of the UN, out of the World Bank, out of the IMF, and no world government. But that is the movement that we're going in. That is the direction that we're going in. But others are planning to go one step further. They weren't satisfied with Bretton Woods. They weren't satisfied with the dollar standard. Now they want to probably modify the special drawing rights for the IMF, which they tried and didn't fail. But they want to control capital, and they want to control the natural resources of the world. So, and they're not nationalistic at all. They believe in world government, and they're more out in the open now than they were 25 years ago.
Here's the problem. I mean, everybody will say, "Oh, that Glenn Beck, he's a conservative. He just loved the Bush administration." No, I didn't. And while I am a businessman myself, and I like big business, I don't have a problem with Walmart. I do have a problem with people that look at our country as a market. And that's what's happening. These global corporations are just looking at people as consumers and a market, so they don't give a flying crap about our Constitution or anything else. What's good for business? How do you stop that?
I think there's a lot of truth to that, but I concentrate on making sure nobody is big because they get a special benefit, either the bankers or the corporations, the international corporations, because inevitably they get benefits. They get tax subsidies of all sorts, they get contracts, and they are protected, and they get all kinds of benefits from government. When you're big for that reason, it's argued that Walmart got big because they satisfied the consumer. We don't want to come down hard on bigness, per se. Bigness in capitalism is good as long as they got there by the consumer voting confidence in that particular business.
Yeah. Congressman, thank you very much. By the way, America, I mean, I hope I'm nuts. I mean, really, you've never met anybody who hopes he's wrong more than I am, or I do. The solutions are going to be presented as gigantic and global. And the answer is going to be local. The answer is going to come from you and your local community and your state, not the globe.
Absolutely correct, Glenn. Absolutely correct, my friend. So get busy. Item from the BoilingFrogPost.com. Headline, Barack Obama, his mother, and the CIA. Here's a tiny little excerpt. You should go there and read the whole article. I quote. In his autobiography, Dreams from My Fathers, Barack Obama writes of taking a job at some point after graduating from Columbia University in 1983. He describes his employer as, quote, a consulting house to multinational corporations, unquote, in New York City, and his functions as a research assistant and financial writer. Oddly, Obama doesn't mention the name of his employer. However, a New York Times story of October 30, 2007, identifies the company as Business International Corporation. Equally odd is that the Times did not remind its readers that the newspaper itself had disclosed in 1977 that Business International had provided cover for 4 CIA employees in various countries between 1955 and 1960. The British journal Lobster, which despite its incongruous name is a venerable international publication on intelligence matters, has reported the Business International was active in the 1980s promoting the candidacy of Washington-favored candidates in Australia and Fiji. In 1987, the CIA overthrew the Fiji government after but 1 month in office because of its policy of maintaining the island as a nuclear-free zone, meaning American nuclear-powered or nuclear weapons-carrying ships could not make port calls. After the Fiji coup, the candidate supported by Business International, who was much more amenable to Washington's nuclear desires, was reinstated to power. In his book, not only doesn't Obama mention his employer's name, he fails to say exactly when he worked there or why he left the job. There may well be no significance to these omissions, but inasmuch as Business International has a long association with the world of intelligence, covert actions and attempts to penetrate the radical left, including Students for a Democratic Society, it's reasonable to wonder if the inscrutable Mr. Obama is concealing something about his own association with this world. Adding to the wonder is the fact that his mother, Ann Dunham, had been associated during the 70s and 80s as employee, consultant, grantee, or student with at least 5 organizations with intimate CIA connections during the Cold War. The Ford Foundation, Agency for International Development, the Asia Foundation, Development Alternatives, Inc., and the East-West Center of Hawaii. Much of this time she worked as an anthropologist in Indonesia and Hawaii, being in good position to gather intelligence about local communities, unquote. My friends, give a sniff. There's an awful lot about Barack Obama's history that just plain stinks. Item from WorldNet Daily, Reza Khalili reporting. In an event dubbed Followers of Hidden Imam, Ayatollah Sayed Ahmed Khatami, a member of the Assembly of Experts and the substitute Friday prayer leader of Tehran, said, quote, should Israel commit madness, it will turn to ashes within seconds, unquote. According to Thurs news agency, the Revolutionary Guard's media outlet. Shiites believe their 12th Imam, the Mahdi, will reappear at the end of time and kill all infidels, raising the flag of Islam in all 4 corners of the world. And stop, my friends, I don't know if you are Christian or Jew. Whichever you are, you hope that the Messiah will arrive quickly. And what do you expect the Messiah will bring with him? You expect that he will bring peace and brotherhood and fellowship of man. Well, you ain't Muslim. Because if you were a Shiite, and if you believed in your Messiah, the Mahdi, the 12th Imam, you would believe that he's going to come and start slaughtering, massacring, destroying human beings on a global scale so that he can raise the glorious flag of Islam. And so once again, explain to me, my friends, explain to me, how do you live in peace with people whose fondest hope, whose greatest messianic dream is that you should die as quickly as possible? Item from WorldNet Daily, Jack Abramoff, one-time power broker for the elite of Washington, D.C., will appear on the July 5th edition of Sean Hannity's The Great American Panel and on CNN's news program Starting Point with Soledad O'Brien to discuss how Chief Justice John Roberts' opinion has opened the door for lobbyists and special interests in a way that could never have been dreamed. In his appearances, Abramoff has been warning that powerful lobbyists will now have constitutional authority to push Congress to give their corporate clients a powerful weapon to wield against competition. He explains the Supreme Court decision will enable lobbyists to get their pawns in Congress to regulate ordinary economic choices, and that Roberts' decision gives government the ability to tax inactivity.
Herbs Meats and Specialty Foods sells hard-to-find clean meats for your family's table. Cured beef bacon, veal, turkey, and summer sausage, all pork-free. Also all available in collagen casings. That's right, collagen casings and pasture-raised, healthy, no hormones, no antibiotics beef at Herbs Meats and Specialty Foods in Broomfield. Call 303-499-8166 or stop by 1000 Depot Hill Road at the intersection of Highway 287 and 10th Avenue in Broomfield. Ask about shipping.
Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits, whether they are of God, because many false prophets have gone into the world. By this you will know the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesses that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh is of God, and every spirit that does not confess that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh is not of God. And this is the spirit of Antichrist, which you have already heard was coming and is now already in the world. 1 John 4:1.
Have you been dreaming of new kitchen cabinets? Maybe you want to reface or repair your current ones but think it's too expensive. Are you on a budget but know you need to maximize and organize the storage space in your home, basement, or workplace? What about you gun enthusiasts who would like a customized display cabinet? Or those emergency preppers who want a hidden storage unit designed for that unique space? Whether you want quality custom design cabinets, specialty woodwork, or budget repairs, Custom Cabinet Shop can help you with whatever you need. High-end or low-end, remodel, reface, or replace. This family-owned and operated business since 1980 will help you design just about any project. Call 303-340-1390. That's 303-340-1390. Find us on Facebook for your free quote and single on-site visit. Service area is limited.
Welcome back to Real Truth. Don't forget to check out my Facebook page, Real Truth Radio. Don't forget to check out my book, Real Truth, Stay Angry. Don't forget to check out the archive of Real Truth episodes. You can find it on Real TV. Where's the TV aspect? Well, I'm getting around to getting it there, believe me. It's like trying to push a rock up a hill with a rope. It doesn't work that easily, but I'm trying. If you want to see lots of videos that I've done, God, by now it's got to be 40 or more. Go to YouTube, punch in my name, Howard Riell, R-I-E-L-L, and you will find lots to learn about. Item from the end of the American dream. Every single year, Americans take the day off on July 4th and celebrate everything that's good about America. We tend to be very proud of our achievements, and we generally are not shy about talking about them. For example, today CNN is running a piece entitled 100 Great Things About America. And you know what? There are a lot of great things about this country. I'm not afraid to say that I love America. In many ways, it has been a great light for the rest of the world since it was founded. However, things have changed. The United States has greatly fallen from where it once was. The truth is that America is rotting and decaying in thousands of different ways. We need to repent and go back to doing the things that once made this country great. The road that we're currently on is a path that leads to national suicide. So to be honest, now is not really the time for happy celebrations. Rather, now is the time for weeping, mourning, and deep reflection. We need to turn from our profligate ways. We need to return to the fundamental principles that the early Americans understood so well. As a nation, we need to look into the mirror and understand just how bad our decline has been. We are a complete and total mess, and it's time to admit that. The following are 70 reasons to mourn for America. 1. Most Americans know much more about Kim Kardashian than they do about the Federal Reserve. 2. The way that the TSA abuses travelers is a national embarrassment. One TSA agent recently sifted her finger through the ashes of someone's dead grandfather and then spilled his ashes all over the airport floor. 3. Many young people in America are willing to wait in line to pay a 400% markup on new Kanye West sneakers, but most of those same young people cannot even tell you how many members of Congress there are. 4. Many Americans seem to be far more interested in American Idol and Dancing with the Stars than they are in dealing with the very serious economic, political, and moral problems facing this nation. 5. A recent survey found that 61% of all Americans believe that paying your fair share of taxes is being patriotic. 6. We currently have the worst president in U.S. history, and there's a chance that we may have to endure another 4 years of his insanity. 7. We have a Supreme Court that appears to have very little respect for the U.S. Constitution. 8. The financial center of our country, Wall Street, is full of psychopaths. 9. America has the highest incarceration rate and the largest total prison population in the entire world by a very wide margin. 10. The highways of America are rapidly being turned into high-tech prison grid. 11. American children today are very spoiled, very undisciplined, and most of them wouldn't know a day of hard work if it came up and bit them on the behind. 12. Today, approximately 25 million American adults are still living with their parents. 13. Back in 1962, only 13% of all Americans were obese. Today, approximately 36% of all Americans are obese. 14. Of all the major industrialized nations, America is the most obese. Mexico is in second place. 15. According to one recent survey, only 25% of all Americans have 6 months of emergency savings stored up. 16. The United States leads the world in credit card fraud. 17. You know that things are bad in America when even the U.S. Secret Service has developed an Animal House reputation for partying wildly while guarding Barack Obama during his vacations on Martha's Vineyard. 18. In many areas of the country, crime is getting worse and thieves are stealing just about anything that's not bolted down. 19. One recent poll found that only 70% of Americans agree with the Declaration of Independence. 20. The average American watches 28 hours of television every week. 21. There are more school shootings in America than anywhere else in the world. 22. Authorities are warning that ATM thefts are on the rise again. 23. Incredibly, 85% of the stuff sold at the biggest retailer in the United States is made outside of the country. 24. The average American drinks more than 600 sodas every single year, by far the most in the world. 25. The United States has the most lawyers per capita in the entire world. 26. Approximately 50 million babies have been slaughtered in hospitals and abortion clinics in America since Roe v. Wade was decided in 1973. 27. The media is now trying to convince us that killing off our elderly grandparents when they get sick is, quote, the right thing to do. 28. According to one survey, 50% of Americans between the ages of 18 and 24 cannot find the state of New York on a blank map. 29. Americans take more prescription drugs than anyone else on the planet. 30. The percentage of women taking antidepressants in America is higher than in any country in the world. 31. The United States has the highest rate of illegal drug use in the entire world. 32. Faith in almost every major American institution is near an all-time low. 33. The U.S. healthcare system is a complete and total mess, and now Obamacare is going to make things much, much worse. 34. Our food is rapidly being transformed into absolute garbage. As I wrote about the other day, at this point, more than 70% of all processed food sold in the U.S. contain at least one ingredient that's been genetically modified. 35. More people have been diagnosed with mental disorders in America than anywhere else on earth. 36. Our federal government refuses to secure our borders and has decided that most illegal immigrants should be allowed to stay inside the country. 37. Our public schools have become horribly repressive indoctrination centers. 38. The United States produces more pornography by far than any other nation in the world. 39. According to the Pew Research Center, only 51% of all Americans that are at least 18 years old are currently married. Back in 1960, 72% of all U.S. adults were married. 40. The United States has the highest divorce rate in the world by a very wide margin, 41. American families are rapidly getting poorer. My friends, when we come back, we'll continue to hit this list, and we'll finish the week on this. 70 Reasons to Mourn for America. We'll be back.
The Lord brings the counsel of the nations to nothing. He makes the plans of the peoples of no effect. The counsel of the Lord stands forever, the plans of his heart to all generations. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, the people he has chosen as his own inheritance. Psalm 33, verses 10 through 12.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just power from the consent of the governed. This is the America News Network. Restore Health and Counseling salutes the men and women in uniform who've answered the call for our freedoms. Let's give them the hero's welcome they deserve as they have fought hard to restore peace. America's troops are our angels of protection, so stand up and salute them proudly. That's from Restore Health and Counseling at 4705 Paris Street, serving Northeast Denver with complete substance abuse counseling for adolescent to adult and for private as well as professional drug, alcohol screening and treatment and rehabilitation. Visit us at www.rhctherapy.com or call 303-373-1188. The Beth Messiah Congregation invites you to come and experience a Messianic Roots biblically based congregational fellowship as we observe God's Shabbat in Messiah Yeshua. Praise and worship services begin at 10:30 a.m., followed by an Oneg Shabbat meal mid-Rosh and fellowship. Beth Messiah Congregation is located at 8333 Acoma Way in North Denver. You can find out more information by calling 1-800-205-6245. Everyone's welcome, so join us this Shabbat. And Shabbat Shalom, good Sabbath.
My friends, I want to depress you, I want to scare you, and I want to piss you off, because someone's got to. More from the End of the American Dream blog, 70 Reasons to Mourn for America, reason number 42. According to one study, 1 out of every 14 girls in the United States has at least one sexually transmitted disease. 43. The United States has the highest teen pregnancy rate on the entire globe. 44. The United States leads the world in eating disorder deaths. 45. Nobody has more airport security thugs groping men and women and children than America does. 46. Many Republicans still believe George W. Bush was a conservative and that he was a good president. 47. The Obama administration is considering plans to unilaterally slash the size of the U.S. nuclear arsenal by up to 80%. 48. The United States has the most complicated tax system on the entire planet. 49. All over the United States, chaplains are being banned from praying in the name of Jesus. 50. The United States exports more arms to other countries than anyone else in the world. 51. The United States has the highest child abuse death rate on the entire globe. 52. Every single year, the United States has the largest trade deficit in the world by far. 53. The United States was once ranked number 1 in the world in GDP per capita. Today, we've slipped to number 12. 54. One of the most popular movies in America right now is about men dancing around and taking their clothes off. 55. Americans spend more time sitting in traffic than anyone else in the world. 56. According to Forbes, the 400 wealthiest Americans now have more wealth than the bottom 150 million Americans combined. 57. The percentage of Americans that consider the Bible to be important continues to fall. 58. Some schools in America have decided to start using RFID tracking chips to monitor the movements of their students. 59. Society's starting to collapse all around us, and it seems like the number of psychos in America is multiplying. 60. The poverty rate for children living in the United States is now 22%. 61. Nobody in the world gets more plastic surgery done than Americans do. 62. Many young people in America today are not afraid to viciously verbally abuse those that are elderly. 63. Today, 53.6% of all children in the city of Detroit are living in poverty, and 47% of all people living in the city of Detroit are functionally illiterate. 64. The U.S. government wastes more money than any other government on earth by far. 65. All over America, people are being attacked by mobs simply because of the color of their skin. 66. Today, the United States actually has a higher percentage of workers doing low-wage work than any other major industrialized nation. 67. America has pushed God out of every corner of public life, and now we're really starting to feel the consequences of that. 68. In Colorado, many people returned home after the recent wildfires only to find that their homes had been looted. 69. There's more hate and division in America today than at any other time in recent memory. And finally, number 70. The U.S. national debt is rapidly approaching $16 trillion, and the total amount of debt in the country is rapidly approaching $55 trillion. So, What do you think about the current state of America? My friends, after having listened to that list, there should be no mystery at all about why I sign off on this show every Thursday with the same line. And I hope you take it to heart. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay angry.